All right, so what's up, Lagos? 99.3 Nigeria info. It's 10:45. I still have Lola Odujiri in the studio. He is an airline pilot, of course. He has been in the business for a long time now. Lola, before we went on that break, we were talking about the comparison between the Nigerian aviation sector and that which is obtained in the UK. What are the similarities and what are the differences?
I think the biggest similarity is infrastructure. Similarities, every single pilot is trained to the same standard, just like doctors. You'd have Nigerian doctors go to England. Within no time, they would integrate and they'll do such a fantastic job. Same with a Nigerian pilot. You can go anywhere in the world. We're all trained to the same standards. Infrastructure is the key. That's the biggest difference.
Why do you think that a country like Nigeria, that we would pride ourselves as, at some point, the big brother of Africa, guys who, would lead and others would follow, until today are unable to get it right when it comes to infrastructure? Because, we have hubs like Ethiopia. Ethiopia has done a great job in making itself a hub, and they're still, going.
Ethiopia exports aviation, just like Nigeria exports crude.
Yeah. And
correct.
What is it that makes it so difficult for us to be able to play, or borrow a lift from what Ethiopia is doing?
I simply put, I think it's just the system, our system, and maybe the governance, the people at the top just don't want that. Ethiopia it's a national carrier. It's run by the government, and it's something they want for themselves. And there's a very smooth correlation between your GDP and the aviation sector. No prosperous nation has ever been prosperous without having such a wealthy and stable aviation industry. I'll give you a very quick example. So one of the reasons why the ticket prices are so expensive is because of something called the open sky policy. Africa refuses to sign this open sky policy thing, whereby basically what it means is you should be able to fly from one part of Africa to another part of Africa if you're an African carrier without having to pay exorbitant fees. When I flew around the world, the most expensive place for me to fly to was Nigeria, and I couldn't afford to, because it was such the prices were so expensive. So every time you fly through any nation, you have to have a flight permit. You have to obviously seek permission to fly through them, and sometimes you have to pay. So until Africa starts this open sky policy thing, which it's in Europe, prices are still going to be high. So what the government don't realize, governments of these nations, is right, you're penny wise but pound foolish, because the generational the money you could have generated for your economy by allowing this open sky policy would be a lot more, tenfold.
Yeah, because you get more carriers coming in. Yeah.
And just you said about Ethiopia. Nigeria is geographically in the best ever place to be the hub for Africa. Because you can have a direct flight from here to New York. You can have a direct flight from here to Dubai. You can have a direct flight from here to South Africa. You can have a direct flight from here to literally almost China. So, but we're just not harvesting this opportunities God has given us.
It makes me really wonder, because you're taking me now to my next question, why we have people who are appointed by whoever the president is to run that sector, who I think, even if they're not necessarily experts in the aviation sector, would have people who work with them who are experts, who have these ideas, just as you. You have an idea. You're a pilot. You fly these countries, so you have an idea. And I'm guessing that you must have shared these ideas with your superiors or other people. How come these ideas are not floated or even carried out? Is it because we don't have the money, or is it that we don't have the political will? Because I'll tell you why I'm asking. A state as small as Akwa Ibom, it's a very tiny dot.
Beautiful state. Beautiful.
Very tiny dot on the map.
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
Yes. I tell you something. I'm privy to this information because they're my cousins.
Yes.
Ibom Air is one of the best airlines, and I'm not advertising for them. I'm sure you know this. They're doing great. And
absolutely.
They've had so many carriers in a little space of time. And this is a state in a country.
Correct.
And as we speak, in November, Ibom Air is going to be representing Nigeria in the Boeing 737 air show in Dubai.
Correct.
So I'm wondering.
The DFO, I happen to know a lot about Ibom Air. The DFO buyer is my
Exactly.
good friend.
So why can a state get it right, and we have aviation ministers come and go?
Yeah.
We're unable to do this.
The answer is very simple. First of all, I'm going to correct you that. Well, not correct you, but I'm just going to say something. And what I'm going to say, size doesn't matter. So I flew around the world.
Oh, yes, of course. It doesn't.
I flew around the world, and no nation helped me but Djibouti. And Djibouti is, if you know,
very tiny but beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I flew the flag of Djibouti around the world.
Lovely.
So size doesn't matter. It's the size of the what's it called doesn't matter. It's the heart and what you want to give. And the best, I've got to be very, very careful because I'm not a political person and I surely don't want to upset anyone. But the state of aviation is in a sorry state. And I frequent the US, I frequent the UK, I frequent Nigeria, I frequent a lot of places. And sometimes I sit back and just take it all in, and I feel sorry for Nigeria because if I'm going to be candid, it's almost like I go into a hospital for an operation, and the lady that checks me in at the reception, whom I give my details to, my date of birth, my address, tells me to go and sit down and change into like a theater dress and stuff, and then I get wheeled into the theater room for operation. And there comes someone with a knife and happens to be the same woman who checked me in to try to operate on me. I'm going to get up and go. But that's, I'm being honest with you, that's how I see the state of the aviation industry in Nigeria. You know, there are experts. I'm not going to go into political side of things, but these experts need to run these things because aviation sector is not a joke. It's the heart of every economy. It's safe. It's so difficult to drive from Benin to Lagos now. It's so unsafe. But, I mean, connectivity drives, as you know, prosperity.
In businesses, yes.
You know, you can't travel from Lagos to this part of the other country without stress. And these are things, but, I mean, the whole situation is just complex. The fuel prices makes it complex. The people in power are not willing to do the right thing. The right people are not ruling it. It's just such a mess.
It's interesting. I have so many questions I want to ask. But quickly, if you were to be, and this is just, I'm just using it as an example. You were to be in the same room with the aviation minister, or you were made to be an advisor to the aviation minister. In 1 minute, what would be the most thing you'd prioritize in advising Mr. Minister?
Mr. Minister? Easy. The first thing is let's start taking advantage of the bilateral agreement between Nigeria and other countries. So for you and I to fly from here to England or New York, we're paying almost 3 times what the value of the prices are. So there is simply no competition. So the bilateral agreement says for every aircraft that comes in from another nation to your nation, you're equally allowed to take another aircraft from your nation to that nation. Okay, fair enough. Nigeria doesn't have its own airline, but you can always come to a lease agreement with other nations, just to create that competition. So we all talk about. I mean, look at the state of the naira. It's gone. It's dead.
That's a whole kettle of fish on its own.
So, and then from the very, very little reserves you've got, you're pumping it into other foreign airlines without competition, and 2 or 3 times more.
But then to make a case quickly, I know we have just a few seconds. We have the likes of, I think, Air Peace and Arik, who are trying to fly outside of the country. But Air Peace, most importantly, is going to new countries like Sierra Leone and, places that they never really go to. Isn't that something that we can still applaud?
Yeah, we can. We can. And sorry, the other thing I should have mentioned to you there is, if I had the opportunity, infrastructure definitely is one of them.
But we have international airports everywhere in the country.
Yeah, but the standards of the international airports, it's the key. A lot of foreign airlines are saying to you, well, the reason why you're paying a lot of money is because we're going through a lot of stress for the same amount of work that we do in other nations.
Hold that thought. So we'll come back and talk more on infrastructure and, of course, how we can develop it. Lola is in the studio. We'll be right back. It's still What's Up Lagos, 99.3 Nigeria Info.
9.3 Nigeria Info. We'll be right back.
Are you hoping to start university this October? If you want a British degree from a world-class university at a fraction of the cost, then join Lancaster University Ghana right here in West Africa. With a diverse student community, vibrant campus life,
and up to 50% scholarship to support your study.
Lancaster University Ghana provides you with a world-class education that creates endless opportunities globally. Don't miss this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Apply to join Lancaster University Ghana, where learners become leaders. Admissions are currently open for our October 2023 intakes. For more information, contact us on 0701 736 5637 or send an email to nigeria@lancaster.edu.gh. Lancaster University Ghana, the only British university campus in West Africa.
No matter what I do, you love me unconditionally. You show up for me every day, no matter when I show you.
A mother's love is unconditional. Nothing serves this love better than a bowl of Indomie. So, show some love with Indomie.
Use Vaseline to moisturize, and your skin will be bright and just right. Vaseline is good for you from head to toe to make your skin glow. Make sure you rub your hands, oh yeah. Make sure you rub your legs, rub your face, oh yeah. Thanks to Vaseline, everything's so smooth, everything's so soft. Vaseline, everything's so smooth.
For chapped lips, diaper rash, damaged skin, and a moisturizer to keep your skin smooth, use Vaseline daily for a healthy, shining skin. Experience the healing power of Vaseline.
Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste. With our unique expertise, we select fine quality tea leaves from selected tea gardens around the world. Experience Lipton Yellow Label's flavorful and balanced taste in every sip. Discover Lipton's flavorful and balanced taste.
If you're on Niger's Confirm Network, you get a super gift of 1,000 naira for just joining the network. You're welcome. 900% bonus on every recharge, 100% data bonus for 6 months, and double data bonus on your first recharge of the month. That's the 9 Confirm plan from 9 Mobile, and it's lit. So get a new SIM or dial star 1400 hash and start browsing, sharing, and creating more on Niger's Confirm Network. 9 Mobile, here for you, here for Niger.
You've got big dreams, but you know it takes hard work, determination, and sweat to achieve them. That's why you need Dubai antiperspirant deodorant with 48-hour protection. Dubai keeps you unapologetically fresh and confident every day. Sweat it, don't smell it. Get Dubai antiperspirant deodorant today. Dubai is endorsed by the Nigerian Association of Dermatologists.
Mel Robbins said, "No one is coming." In this world brimming with opportunities, the only limits are the ones you set. Remember, every achievement, every app, every algorithm was once a spark in someone's mind. And you too carry a unique code within you. Learn a tech skill and change your life. Release your inner code. Visit www.comycode.com to find out more.
Get in on the action with Betano, your exciting destination for thrilling sports betting. Enjoy an award-winning experience with amazing betting options, cash out, and missions, as well as other features. Join now and get a welcome bonus of up to 100,000 naira. Betano.ng. The game starts now.
All the goals, clashes, and moments. The Premier League, all on DSTV. Get DSTV with the HD decoder plus dish plus 1 month confirm for 18,500 naira. It's your moment. T's and C's apply.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
We are back.
We're back on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
More talk, more conversations, more after this.
In the heart of Lagos. News, talk, and sports. Only on one dial. 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Experience a better way to stay connected.
Listen, fellas and girls.
Download the Nigeria Info mobile app on iOS and Google Play Store. Join the conversation and stay connected. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. The conversation is just a click away. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. The headline news on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Headline news on the nation's number one talk news and sports radio station 99.3 Nigeria Info. First Federal Executive Council meeting with President Tinubu's administration set to take place at 12 noon today. And this is, that's in about 1 hour from now. President Tinubu insists on making difficult decisions as he declares 2023 NDA conference open. Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar questions academic records of President Tinubu. NEMA assures of low negative impact as Cameroon gets set to open Lago Dam. National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu says Nigeria loses $4 million, about 3 billion naira daily due to crude oil theft. Nigerian Air Force carries out successful air interdiction missions on some illegal refining sites in the Niger Delta and terrorist hideouts in the northeast. Again, Ohanaeze Ndigbo calls on President Tinubu to release IPOB leader Nnamdi Kanu. Minister of Culture Hanatu Musawa denies issuing a statement about NYSC controversy. Fraud Tolani Bad evicted from reality TV show Big Brother. Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen reaches milestone as he scores his 100th goal in Sassuolo win. And finally, on the foreign scene, Russia confirms death of Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin. And these are the headlines we're tracking this hour. Full bulletin will be brought to you at the top of the hour 12. I'm Mary Anna Combe, thanking you for listening. Good morning.
We bring fun.
Good vibes.
We go in through the news.
And come out through the crannies.
We even have very serious conversations.
No, we don't.
Oh, yes, we do.
No, we don't. And that's what makes us ask you, what's up, Lagos? Let's do this. I am Stretch.
I am Marianne.
And let's fire up your mid-morning from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on 99.3 Nigeria Info.
Let's talk.
More talk, more conversations, more after this.
All right, we're back. It's still What's Up Lagos 99.3 Nigeria Info. We're looking at the problems in the aviation sector and trying to see if we can prefer solutions, especially now that we have brand new ministers in these shiny offices. And today we're basically looking at Festus Kiamo's ministry, and we're looking at how we can better the lot of not just the aviation sector, but those of us who frequently use it. And my guest in the studio is a British Nigerian pilot. He is somebody who has been a player in this industry for a long time. Once again, Lola, thank you very much for being in the studio with us. Now, we were talking about infrastructure before we went on that break. Before we bring Lagosians in, we were talking about some of the things that need to be fixed. And you talked about infrastructure very importantly because you also said that that's the difference, with what we have outside of this country. You've talked about the fact that there is no political will per se, because some of these ideas are not necessarily hidden. They're not gems or secrets. These politicians travel to other countries and they see how these things work. But let's talk about operations in the airport and how, it could have been better. For example, you flew into the country. What was your first experience?
Yeah, so I think the first experience is the heat and the state of the arrival hall. And then you move further down the line. So I've flown to, I can't count how many countries I've flown to in my lifetime, but I want to tell you something. Every country that I've flown to, the nationals get through security the fastest. Nigeria is the only country where the nationals will take the longest to get through immigration. So, for example, you'd have to see 3 different people sometimes. Now, when I get back to the UK, it takes me like 2.5 minutes to get through immigration. I take my passport, puts it on a scanner, and then it scans my face. I give them a good smile. Boom, off I go. So if you're the foreigner, then they ask you questions. What brings you to the UK? What are you looking for? All that kind of stuff. So Nigeria really, really needs to sit down and think, do we really need to create all this, necessary checkpoints? And they're just silly, because all you get is someone saying to you, oh, how was your trip?
What did you bring?
What did you bring for me? Uncle bless me. And, it's just... So I'll tell you a very quick story. So 2 months ago, June, I came to Nigeria, right? And then a guy recognized me and said, oh, you're the captain, right? I said, yeah. So he told me to take the captain, the airline fast route.
Yeah.
And then I got there, and this guy looked at me and thought, okay, all right, where's your passport? So I gave him my Nigerian passport. And he said, come on, get out of here with your passport. Come on, get out of here. I cried on the inside. I literally teared up.
So sorry, this was a Nigerian telling you to get out.
I
because you're
swear
Nigerian.
to God.
So he would have rather that you showed him a different passport.
Yes, correct. If I showed him a British passport, he would have been fine with it. He said to me, come on, get out of here. He was like, I was like, oh my God. And then I think it was seconds later, because the whole aircraft, it was a big aircraft. People were just stranded and they were delayed. And then everything just started kicking off. And then that was when people now, obviously, the immigration officers started obviously begging people to calm down. But those things need to kick off before you do the right thing. Now, if that guy can do that to a Nigerian, when he sees a foreigner, he's like, yes, please, this way. This
But
way.
why do you think that? Because this is detail for a lot of things.
Yes.
It's not just about at the airports.
Yeah.
Why do you think that the average Nigerian prioritizes the
Maybe it's complex. I
vulnerable
don't know.
person over?
I think maybe it's complex. Maybe it's colonial. I don't know. How do you call it?
Colonial mental
Yeah,
mentality.
I don't know. Honestly, I really don't know what it is. But I was shocked with that because, he should have said to me, "Oh, welcome," and I shouldn't have to go through so much stress. I was on that queue for like an hour. The average person sometimes take 40 minutes to get through.
Let's talk about airline operators now, because
Right.
we have so many of them here. Airline operators in Nigeria say that the current volatility and the cost of operations, if these things were to be taken into account, a flight ticket from Lagos to Abuja route should be priced at about a quarter of a million. That's a local flight. What are your thoughts on this, and how feasible, knowing also the naira is in a bad place,
Plunged, yeah.
knowing how the economy is, and the issue of the fuel subsidy removal and where we are, as a country.
Yeah, because I remember when I was working in Nigeria, aviation fuel was around 250, if I'm correct, and it's skyrocketed now to about maybe 1,000 or something.
Yes, 1,000.
So it's not sustainable. I think that's the first thing that comes to mind, because I don't think people are making that much money to be spending such amount of money on tickets, local tickets, and the roads are not safe either. So the refineries, the sooner they come into effect, the better for the nation. If the government pulls out what they claim to do, in terms of have refineries working in Nigeria, that would really help. But I think operationally, it's a fuel thing on that situation, because airlines are paying so much more now for fuel. To operate a 737.
The presidential spokesperson had said that even if we start refining in the country, it's not going to change anything significantly.
I think.
Why are we banking on that?
So when you operate an aircraft, so by the way, I've worked in places where the first thing you want to know as a business owner is what is my operational cost per hour to put this 737 on the road for an hour. And I've been to places in Nigeria where people don't even know what it costs them to operate an aircraft. Okay. So how do you charge your customers when you don't know how much it costs you to operate an aircraft for an hour? That's the first question, right? So, but in any airline, anywhere in the world, staff fees, salaries, and fuel cost I think fuel comes first, and then staff salaries are your two major operational costs.
Do we see the aviation sector suffering under this, new dispensation? And I'm not talking about the president and his ministers. I'm talking about the economic dispensation that we find ourselves in. If people, because as it is right now, even affording a 70,000, 80,000 naira ticket, one-way ticket,
Yep.
is tough as it is,
Yep.
let alone being that expensive. And then we do not have too many options because the roads are not necessarily safe.
No.
The trains don't go everywhere. So what do we see the aviation sector crashing or crumbling under this?
Absolutely. I think the removal of the subsidy is definitely affected. It's got a direct correlation with the hike in price. There's no two ways about it, because that's your major, as an airline operator, that's your major cost. That's the biggest cost you're going to face. So to run a 737 for an hour, you're looking around 2.5 to 2.8 tons. That's about, let's say, 3,500 liters. So if you did 3,500 times 1,000, there you go. That's your answer there.
Wow.
Just for an hour.
Well, Lagos, join the conversation. Our guest is in the studio. We're talking about the aviation sector. Now, if you have flown lately and when you paid, you felt the pain, well, we want to talk about it. And we all know who our aviation minister is right now. And of course, we've talked about putting square pegs in square holes and not the other way around. Ademilola Oyewale is an airline captain. He's here in the studio with us talking about the aviation sector. You want to join in the conversation? Join the conversation. 0700 993 993 993. That's 0700 993 993 993. If you're a lady, call 01 465 7190, or you can send us a WhatsApp message. We would like to hear from you, but join the conversation. Hello, good morning. What's up, Lagos? Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. My own question to your guest is, what are they doing about the aviation school? Because person like me, I wanted to send my children to aviation school. Sorry, my name is Joshua.
Oh, Joseph, thank you very much. Very interesting question. We'll take another call quickly before we allow Lola to answer that one. Hello, good morning. What's up, Lagos?
Hello.
Good morning. What's up, Lagos?
Yes, good morning. What's up, Lagos?
What's up? Cheers Live. Good morning.
Good morning.
Go
Yes, how
ahead.
was everything?
Go ahead with your question quickly, please. All right, you obviously don't have one. Hello, good morning. What's up, Lagos? Oh dear, apologies. Well, let's talk about quickly the aviation question before we go for our quick advert break. He's asking, I know you're not the aviation minister, but there are people who have actually, when they're growing up, they ask them what they want to do. They want to go to, at some point in my life, I wanted to be, an aeronautic engineer, but I did not study science. So it didn't happen. But could you help this guy out?
Yeah, so there's a couple of schools in Nigeria. I believe there's one in Ilorin. Zaria is there. It's long-standing. And there's another one. And I believe a friend of mine, we're talking about starting another flight school as well. So there are flight schools. But I think the issue there is, again, infrastructure. The fuel. Nigeria is... So to buy a liter of fuel for avgas in Nigeria was $30 a liter in 2016. So a liter in the UK was around £1 per liter. So how do you compare $30 a liter to £1 a liter? It's almost 30 times the amount of... So people didn't have to buy certain aircrafts that use Jet A1 fuel. So there's two types of fuel for flight schools. One is called avgas, and the other one is Jet A1, which the big aircrafts use. So again, the fuel thing, the fuel issue. So which is why a lot of students, a lot of people go outside of Nigeria to actually do flight training. They go to South Africa.
Again, our money's going outside of the country.
The money just keeps outflowing. There's just an outflow, constant outflow.
It's unfortunate. Well, Lagos, don't forget that we are also giving out monies today. Yes, somebody's going to go home with 10,000 naira. Have you played yet? If you haven't played one play, go ahead and play right now. You know the code. play, and make sure that when you play, you keep your phone open and close to you, because you never know who might just be the winner this morning.
Up to 90,000 naira can be won every day with One Play Loto. With just 200 naira, you get the chance to play and win every day. Simply dial *347 *880 *3#. Specify the number of your tickets or entries from 1 to 10. Choose one to continue.